All right. Welcome to the Rocket Launcher podcast. This is episode 184. I am your host, Supreme King, and join with me as always is my co-host, and his name is.
It's your guy Omazes.
Yeah, I was having technical difficulties. You know what's funny? The game that I was recording was one of the demos. We was talking about some of the demos not too long ago from these shows. I will have it edited for next week. I think it's kind of irrelevant for this week. But yeah, expect more demos from me because I'm kind of getting into this formula where I can just play a bunch of stuff and record a bunch of stuff on the off days and stuff like that. So that's what I'm going to do. But let's jump right in it. I actually did not have PlayStation footage or like a game from PlayStation like ready and available. I probably could have, but I was just like running a little late because I had ordered some food right before we were going to get going. So we got Nintendo here. No Nintendo topics from me, but just bear with me this week. But I guess we're still in the aftermath of PlayStation and or Sony and their decisions. But funny enough, well, I don't know how funny it is to some, but their servers were going down. I remember hearing about it almost immediately, but didn't have time to go check myself. I wanted to for a second, but it was like I had to get ready to go do something important. So I didn't turn the machine on. But I had heard within the hour that it had happened. And then afterwards I had left it alone. Then I come back and find out it was basically a majority of the day. And then not only that, of course, the digital games for a lot of people were not able to be were not available. Stuff that people had digitally, even as far as like the single player games where you're not even playing online with other people. Some of those were also not working, and other. It's somewhat ironic, but I do think that some of these things are just like, I think they're being attacked on all cylinders. But
so
that's what was happening.
I believe there is a setting that you can turn on. This isn't me defending them. I need to put this out there.
You defending them?
No, not at all. But I believe there's a setting that you could turn on for your PS5 that says that it'll link your PSN account to the login account for the PlayStation. This way you're still able to play your offline games. It might be doing one of those things where you got to log in once a month, but after that you're able to play offline. For the digital stuff. However, it's weird to me that setting's not automatically on for the PlayStation, so a lot of people don't really know about it. So of course, if everything went down and they're currently offline, you can't go on and turn it on. And I don't remember how that affects PlayStation Plus games. I believe you still can't access those if you're not logged on online. But for purchased stuff, I believe it's you buy it, it's tied to your PlayStation Network account, but then you have to have a setting turned on to where it matches your network account to the PlayStation login account. But again, I don't think it's automatically on, and I'm not sure how trustworthy it is. And then also keep in mind if for example, there's two accounts on the PlayStation and the game is bought from one, that means the other one won't be able to access it in-house if they're not online, right? Because it's going to say this account does not have this license for it. So if your save data is under that account, you can't continue where you left off because it doesn't recognize your account as the one who purchased it.
So it adds to all the notion and everything that was going on about the future. People saying this is how the future is going to be. It's going to suck. Yep. It's no point in even having a machine. It even is making more and more people say they don't want the next generation console from Sony.
Here's another issue that I've had. It's people online who defend it. Your people who go I don't understand the big deal. I only buy digital anyways. And it's like my pushback for a lot of that stuff is it's one, it's like a lot of people stream music, but they still sell vinyl and
Hmm.
CDs and things like that. So like because there is people buying it, I'm sure they're not like I'm sure the vinyl market is not thriving and going like crazy well. But they still sell it. Persona 5 just released a vinyl like early last year when they were doing their like special. It might have been this year doing the Persona 30th anniversary stuff. They just released a vinyl for the album for the game. So it's just like just because you don't use it doesn't mean it shouldn't exist. And it's
Hmm.
crazy to me sometimes that people don't see how this can be a problem in the future. And I think this ties into, I'm not sure if you were going to bring it up now, but it was that person who said that they were playing, like their brother brought the PlayStation 3 over and they couldn't access
Okay.
any of their games because they couldn't log on. Because he didn't log on in over 10 years, the account was deleted. And the dude posted a video because a lot of people are just like fake, fake, fake. So he posted a video showing that they went on and it just wouldn't let him access stuff. And people were just like, it was people defending it. They're like, one, they're like, that's on your brother. Your account carries over to PS3, PS4, PS5. You just needed to log on once in 10 years or something like that. Uh, and the other one was like, saying it's like clearly your brother didn't care because they didn't log on, like and stuff like that. And it's
Hmm.
like in my head, I'm like, last year or the year before, I can't remember which one. I was with some friends and they randomly just brought out an N64. They were
Hmm.
just like, let's do it. And they just like put in Mario Kart, like the old school Mario Kart. I haven't touched an N64 since well before 2010. And then they randomly just brought it out because they were digging through old things. You don't know what people's lives are. You don't know why they haven't played that particular console in 10 years. How do you know they didn't get a PS3, switched over to PC for the last several years, and then when they were going to see their brother because they live in a different state and they're going to stay for a while, they're just like, hey, I'm going to bring my PlayStation 3 and everything, and we can like recreate old memories, just log it in, and your stuff is deleted and the things you purchased are just gone. Because it's like, nope, you don't own this anymore. Versus, again, people can pull out an N64, pop in the cartridge, it works. And it's like,
Yes.
it's this whole, if it doesn't apply to you. And I think where people are also, well, I'll let you go and then I'll add to it.
No, I was just gonna say something silly because the what's funny to me is the first thing that reminds me of is like you can't go to jail. That's the funny part to me. Like you go to jail, like you'll go to jail for a certain amount of years, and you come back and they just turned it off, and it's like, well, it's not my fault. I was in
Yeah.
jail.
Because remember the old 3.5 year thing?
Yeah.
Right? That's the new rule is if you don't log in within 3.5 years, your account deletes. And again, yeah, if you go to jail or if we go a little more innocent, if you're in the military.
Yeah, I was gonna say yeah, because everybody usually favors the military because
Yep.
it's a very political thing to do, but this is a very unfavorable thing to somebody who goes to the
Yep.
military because the military, from my understanding, is like 4-year terms. Really, you
Uh-huh.
go and then you re-enlist, you do all that stuff. It's
Study
like
abroad.
yeah, if you come back, you only your main focus is to meet some family real quick because you come back, you only come back for a week or so, you go right back out. You're not thinking like, oh, I gotta turn the system back on. It's like that's
Uh-huh.
not really because your life just changed overnight. You come back like in completely different shape. Your posture is different. You're very very military focused, right? So the video game is about your boyhood before you become a man. You go over
Yeah.
there, you doing machinery and all this other stuff. You in the sky, all that stuff. It's like you're not thinking about the game system like that, but you probably still want to own it at the end
Yeah.
of the day. But
Or like
it
again with the PS3 thing, how many times do people put old stuff in boxes that when they're cleaning the garage, they're just like, "Oh, here's this old thing that I had. Let me go test it out again." Again, that's how many people ran back into their like N64s and stuff. And it's just like, well, nope, you can't access any of the things because it was all on the system and your account got deleted. It's
yeah,
so
it's
weird.
weird too because like I still have the boxes for like the Switch and the PS4, and they're not really that old. But when you think about it, is you are coming up on about 10 years.
Yep.
And it's like that's kind of fresh in your head a little bit when you know, if you're actively using the product. But if you bought something and it's about 10 years old, but you didn't really tear it up, you just have a product, it's in your home or something, it's like you wouldn't expect it to just all of a sudden stop working. Even with the movie situation a few weeks ago when they took the movies away, I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure there's a lot of people who just have DVDs that's just
I do. I was about to
just
bring that
sitting
up
there.
as well. I have DVDs that are just sitting there, and every once in a while, I go, "What's this one old movie that I want to watch?" And I'll just throw in "You Got Served" because I got a DVD player and everything that also barely gets used and everything. But it's just like, what? Like I wouldn't be able to just access it. I have the whole collection of Smallville. That was one of my favorite shows growing up. Right? And yeah, sure, it's on Hulu, but if I don't want to watch it through Hulu and I have the DVDs, I should be able to just put them in. I haven't like watched it from the DVD set in at least 5 years, at least. And it's
Yeah.
like I wouldn't like I put this in after I paid money for all 10 of these separately, and then I put the disc in, and it's just like it's been too long. You don't get to watch it. Like,
Yeah,
excuse me?
it's kind of weird because I think it's been like Attack on Titan that comes to mind right now. It's been a while since I've, you know, consumed Attack on Titan, but you know they have the game that they have coming up where it has all of the full series in it, and the last game that I had was the final battle, which only covered the first 3 seasons. But the material, like the show, I haven't seen it in a while. And I haven't seen the final, you know, last half of the last season, but it lately has made me want to go out of my way and try to buy the DVD sets and stuff. I
Yeah.
have been looking for it, only
You
because
know
of
me, I
everything that's
support
been going.
collection.
Yeah, it's just everything that's been going on right now. It's just like, because normally I would just, you know, do the same thing I've been doing forever, but
Yeah.
it's just like now I just kind of feel like, well, you know what, I kind of do want to own that DVD set
And
before
it's a
I own the
collection. It
next game.
looks real cool,
It
right? Like it
does,
just looks like a
yeah,
cool thing to have. You will always have it as long as you keep it like working and you didn't break it. And
yeah.
it's just weird that it's like because they don't use that form of medium, like all of a sudden it should be gone. Like I don't drink almond milk, but I don't mean it shouldn't exist and everything. Like it's weird. I don't know. Or like, and I think what people are confusing, slightly on topic, but it's like the difference between like, for example, with the next God of War game coming out, right? You don't like the cube, and that's a fair criticism. I don't mind the cube. It's fine. You can argue back and forth about whether the cube ruins the game or not. That's because that's
It
subjective.
just seems so
But
out of place.
yeah, but I'm interested to see what lore it's going through because it looks like LaFay's world is going through all the different lores. But it's a good argument to have, like you can have an opinion on it and things like that, but I feel like it's weird to defend these moves because it doesn't affect you. Like that's a weird thing to me to do. And everything is like just because if you want to go pure digital and you don't care if PlayStation takes it away at some point, or you're like, I'm always gonna log on, like blah blah blah. That's a weird thing. Like I will fight bad decisions. Xbox does. I don't have an Xbox. It doesn't affect me at all, right? But a bad decision is a bad decision, whether it affects you or not. If you're cool with it, whatever, right? I get mad when some of the streaming services go up in price. I still keep the streaming service, but I get mad. I'm not going to be like, well, get your money up. Like, that's such a weird concept. Well, again, I still buy some of the games that like cost 70, even though I'm mad that they went up to 70 and everything. But to turn around and try and defend the decision of going to 70 to me is a weird thing. Like, it's defending big business is like a weird thing. That weird. Leave my company, $1 million company, alone.
Yeah, so I think PlayStation will probably continue to be attacked by the masses. It's kind of
Oh yeah.
funny because this network thing, I don't think it's a coincidence. The timing is just way too off, but it reminds me of how, you know, $1 billion or $1 trillion, however big the company is still a company, but they think they have the power, and this is one of the things where it shows, well, you actually don't, as
Yep.
much as you think you do. you have some power and influence, but the last time something like this had happened, I believe, or at least the most notable one was in the PS3 era. They took that network down for like a month, and it really hurt their business and reputation for a while. And I wouldn't be surprised if something like that happens again once we get towards like the time frame where they're really trying to cut things off. I still remember, as goofy as it sounds, it was some kid, 19 years old, in a hotel with a Roku device or something, and somehow, some way, you hacked PlayStation. I'm still don't understand how that, like, because if you go into to me, if I was in a hotel room with a Roku, I was just looking at some stuff randomly, and you're probably hanging out with your friends or something. Like, how do you go in there? Because that looks like you got limited resources to me. But you go up in there and you can hack Sony Santa Monica and all of their other studios or whatever. Like, it shut down like the online infrastructure for a day or two. Like, how? Like that. And if that person can do it, obviously all of these people who you laid off is going to be right there working together to do it. Just like how they're working right now to get that emulator up, and within a week's time they've gotten multiple games to actually like get into the point where they're loading in game, where before they couldn't even load in game. And it's like, it's only been a week, right? And so, like, as time goes on, I wouldn't be surprised if by the end of this year some of those bigger titles are going to be considered playable. The interesting thing about it is, I remember Astrobot was a target where that was one of the games that they showed off as like the games that they got running on PC in the emulator, right? But I actually thought about it like that. I think was a message within itself, because that was probably one of the only games that never actually got a PC port. So for that to be the first one that they chose, I think it really stands out. Like, these are calculated things that is happening from the people right now to Sony, and it's coming from every direction. It's like, you can't really, like, there's not a Nintendo moment where you can pinpoint one dude who was like selling ROMs or something. It's like, this is coming from every direction right now. Mm-hmm. Every direction, and I'm pretty sure there's a bulk of them who were people who used to be, you know, under some sort of NDA, and also like was a part of a studio where they can't mention X, Y, and Z, and then they were laid off. And now that they're laid off, they're seeing red, and they're doing all these things because they have real code. You know, some of these guys work from home, right? They have real code that they loaded onto whatever device they wanted to. So because there's no way the emulator is getting up that fast without some of this stuff being used. You know, there's no way you're just going into the PlayStation network and shutting it down that fast. You know, these are things that are happening, and it's weird. It's like a mafia almost kind of thing, like digitally or whatever. But yeah, it is what it is. I do want to mention one thing, because it wasn't going to be a topic, but I do find it to be interesting that on the PC side, with platforms like Steam and Good Old Games, there was a lot of videos that were getting some traction on YouTube based on like all the current events, where they were actually showing people how you can take those PC games and make a physical version of it, and actually, you know, print the label on the disc, create an actual like cover page and manual, all that stuff if you really wanted to do it. And make art
on that as well. Yeah, which is cool. On that as well as GOG straight up put out a message explaining how to do it on the like their own as well. So it wasn't just YouTubers. They straight up was like, you could do this with all, like, you buy it as yours. There's no DRM. You can burn the application to a disc. Boom, it's a disc-based game in any PC you put it into.
Yeah, I have a really high-end printer where I could possibly do some of this stuff. I actually kind of thinking about doing it for like one or two things just to make some artwork funny enough, Grand Theft Auto 6
Collection.
is going to be one of them. But like you can buy, like at first I was like, well, don't you need a PC with a DVD or Blu-ray drive? Like who has those nowadays? But technically you can get one of those external ones that actually hook by the USB port, and then you can set it up where as soon as it runs the disc, it automatically boots in game. And people were showing that, and it was doing that on the computers as if he was doing it on a console. And so, you know, if you just want to make your own experience, you can. But I think the key thing there is that you get that choice back. So even with a PC game where it's notoriously known for just being digital, period, well, you can create a disc where it's a bootable disc, and you know you can hook it in with the Blu-ray player and just it'll boot from the disc. So yeah, that's interesting. So the PC world is really, really versatile, and they're coming for that PS5 emulator. They are coming for it. They're coming for every little detail they can add to it, and I would be
Good.
surprised if they get the full library on there before we even get to the PS6. Honestly, because it seems like everybody's working on this thing now. In their spare time, there is still situations where they're uploading whatever post they want to upload, and then if you click on it, everybody's still talking about the physical media in the comment sections and on the
Yeah,
Twitter and everything.
unfortunately, Zach Kreger's new Resident Evil movie, the trailer
Hmm.
for YouTube was flooded with comments calling out PlayStation as well. I really hope it
Hmm.
doesn't affect. Like, I hope people weren't down voting the movie itself, because this is purely through Zach Kreger. It's not like a
Hmm.
PlayStation Studios movie. I just don't want it to affect his success based off of something he has zero to do with. I'm a
Hey,
fan of it.
they want blood. It's called Casualties at War. Because from what I was seeing, as long as PlayStation posted it, it took the hit. Anybody else who posts the same trailer, you will see a different response. Funny enough, but anything coming directly from PlayStation, it took the hit, and I see it. But we have to actually see it in the long run. You know, put your money where your mouth is. Are you going to stick to your guns? Which brings me to the next topic, which is really so this is not really a direct topic. It's kind of scattered, but I am gonna have it in the actual title that there was some Comic-Con news basically
Oh yeah.
for a whole variety of things. But I guess what also happened was they mentioned some more God of War news, right? Along with the LaFay game, and then announced there was going to be another Kratos game. We already kind of knew that, but I guess they just wanted to announce it. Um, and I guess the LaFay game got a release date, which I think we already kind of knew it was going to be, this year anyway. But,
Next year.
or I'm sorry, yeah, next year, February. Was it February?
Yep. February
Yeah,
17th, I think.
my bad. Yeah, February, somewhere around that time. So, um, the thing about it is, that and some of the other titles, you kind of have to still tread lightly with them, because PlayStation has basically said we're not budging. Basically, they moved on. I mean, ironically though, they fell back on that fight stick, I guess. Apparently the fight stick went from here it is to it's shelved indefinitely for a moment. I don't know what happened with the fight stick, but they're basically saying we're not going to speak on the digital game thing anymore. We're just going to keep going. And everybody else is speaking on it, but they're just like, well, we're just releasing all these other trailers now. If we continue to buy their products, we give them the power. That's just the end of the day thing. Yeah, I see a bunch of people, because I've seen they released a Wolverine trailer, of a story trailer and stuff, right? The Wolverine's video still had mildly positive reception, but everybody in the comment section was saying this is the game that I'm going to buy physically and stuff like that. And it was still talking physical this, physical that. The problem is you're still handing them money, period. That's the bigger problem. You if you want them to change course, you kind of have to starve them out a little bit. That's the bigger deal. Now if people don't care as much, they still just kind of want what they want. I mean, that's still fine. But at the end of the day, if we fund them for 2027, then they will make it to 2028 with the same decisions that they came up with right now. If we don't fund them, then they might change course because they still gave it some time. I don't think that they just, put it out there just to give us some time to kind of cope. I think they also did it to see, where will it land for them in their business? Can they, because it'll give them time to pivot if they need to, but that means we would have to give them a reason to pivot. The only way you give them a reason to pivot is if you stop supporting their platform. That's just the end of the day thing. But I'm
based
gonna let
off
you
of how
speak.
people
Just
are
go ahead.
reacting. Yeah, based off of how people are reacting, because it looks like what's gonna happen is a lot of people are just gonna like buy the physical of what they want and then call it a day. Do you think it might have any like? It probably, of course, it's not gonna be as strong as an impact of just like straight up nobody buying, but do you think there'll be any sort of impact coming from if the digital sales are almost like relatively non-existent and it's like all physical, that's it? Because then it almost kind of makes a sign that like the big games need to be physical, right? And then of course it's probably going to be too late for Grand Theft Auto, and Grand Theft Auto is not going to work, but I feel like they would have to also hit if they try to do any other games where there's like a box with a code in it instead of like a physical disc, that they just don't get it, right? But I wonder if there'll be any sort of impact of like if pretty much everyone's only buying the disc. Again, not as strong, but will that also send a message?
So, if we backtrack, let's say 2 years, probably three. It might have been three. Retailers actually was the ones who said we're not going to sell movies in our stores anymore. I don't know if you remember that. It was like we're not going to put any more DVDs or Blu-rays in the store anymore. Come the start of the new year, I think it was announced right before the holiday season the year prior. However that was handled, all I know is at the end of the day, it's still there. They quietly walked that back. There was never an announcement or anything saying that, oh, we changed our mind. It's no, you can go back into the store right now and there's DVDs everywhere. At least with Walmart, from what I can see, a little bit of Myers as well. I was in Best Buy not too long ago, and I didn't really see it on Best Buy's in store, but I did see it in line. You saw it, yeah. I saw it online though, but at the end of the day, they're the retailers. Like if you think retailer, you think them, and we're about 3 years later, and they're still selling it, right? And they kind of was quiet. They never said that, oh, we officially changed our mind. But somebody somewhere would have came to the conclusion, we're missing out on the profit here. We're missing out on something that drives people into the store. This drives people into the electronics section where they'll get this and then they'll get some other electronics based on what they just see in here. I think it's just going to come down to something like that. It does bring me to one other thing I wanted to mention that I actually find interesting, and it was kind of common sense when you think about it too. Like, apparently only 27% of the people who have a PS5 have the digital only version, and everybody else has the physical disc version. Funny enough, I do remember there was like a good year when this stuff was coming out where the digital one wasn't even really available at all. It was only the physical version. And I don't know if it was because they wanted you to spend an extra $100 or something, but literally, didn't nobody even care either. They only wanted the physical one, the one with the disc in it. And then when they had the PS5 Pro, and those slim models, they were selling those disk drives separately. The disk drives ended up being sold out at a lot of places when the Pro came out, and it was probably because people wanted to put the whole thing together, right? And so it's I think it's a little disingenuous what they're saying about it, about the digital versus physical versions, because if you have more people who have the physical, you know, the disc version of the console, right? And then on top of that, you know, this information making news outlets. You got to think like news outlets stopping from talking about Trump, stopping from talking about wars, stopping from talking about all types of like shootings and terrorist type attacks and stuff, to give this type of like platform. It don't make it seem like it's hard for you to argue to me that the people who want the disc are in the minority. They kept saying that, you know, you keep hearing it like, oh, I know we're in the minority, but it's like, but we making news though. Like,
right. And there's two things on it. So one, with the making news, I was listening to the radio the other day just because I didn't like hook up my music, and on the radio, all of a sudden they were mid talking, and it was like you could tell like a early 40s, maybe mid 40s, like woman and a guy talking about this, but you could hear from the way they're talking. They don't even regularly play video games. Like these are people who was like, I remember playing, like I only played the PS2 and then I stopped. Like that, but they were criticizing it as well. It was so out of nowhere. But then also, yeah, on that they keep trying to put out messages to make it seem like not a lot of people want this stuff. Like I see the one that keeps popping up and said that only like 7 games or something like that sold over 100,000 like physical copies this year. And I kept laughing because I was like, it's the phrase "this year" because it was like, name 7 PlayStation games that came out this year. Like most people can't. There's nothing that really came out. So to be like, they kept like definitely phrasing this year, like it's like it was only these 7, so this is why we're trying to do it. In comparison, I'm just like, yeah, nah, you're not fooling anybody with your like fake statistics.
all I gotta do is say it. At the end of the day, I'm gonna keep saying this probably every week until, you know, these dies down. But and it don't matter what type of decisions that they make, they're not gonna get the profit that they're looking for. That's at the end of the day. That just kind of have to. We kind of have to just say this again and again. You're not gonna make the profit. It's always gonna level out to a certain amount. Every weird 60-plus-year-old executive that keeps jumping into worlds that have nothing to do with them, they need to understand that, because even with this move, it always comes with the cost. It comes with the sacrifice. Whenever you make a change like that, there's going to be a percentage of people who revolt. That percentage is always going to add up to the profit that you were trying to make, but now you take a couple steps back again because you've lost even more people who would have been there to support you, but you've made it to where it's impossible for them to support you. For some people, that, you know, not having the ownership is the icing on the cake, but you've already doubled the price of everything over there. You know, on top of that, you know, you've made it to where this is heavily manipulated. Like, let's really be honest here. If you went and got a collector's item, you got the toy, you got the statue, you got, you know, art and stuff, but you got everything but the disc. How in the world did you make a collection item where everything was in there except the actual game? Physical in hand. You had the nerve to literally give people a steel book. When you open it, it has a slot for a disc, but never actually gave them the disc. They did that for years. That's heavily manipulative, and there's no excuse for that. You absolutely knew what you did. There's no way anybody in the industry was like, oh my bad, we forgot to put the actual game in. No. You knew exactly what you was doing. those collector's versions had a digital code in there instead of the disc itself. You banked on the actual collector to buy the game twice. They was trying to make you buy the game twice. That's no different than when you would have the game and the system, but they would tell you you need to buy some sort of upgrade. They were doing all of that stuff. All of these things were manipulated, and it's a slap in the face of the fans to begin with. But then at the end of the day, now you would just try to tell them you don't even want them to have an option or have ownership. But you know, at the end of the day, you still didn't make the profit. You didn't make the profit when you sold the collector's version of it with no actual disc in there. You didn't make the profit then. You didn't make the profit when you doubled or tripled the price of the system. You're not gonna make the profit now. It's just they're gonna have to literally accept that consoles will have to be sold at a loss if you want people to actually buy it.
Yeah, they already said they not, so we'll see how that goes.
Because the people are not gonna buy it. Those things are gonna sell like the Steam Deck, basically. That's what's gonna happen. No disrespect to the Steam Deck, but that's you looking at them making Dreamcast numbers. Then, if that's the case, going forward, you're not gonna make the profit. You're definitely you're not gonna get anywhere near 100+ million units sold ever again. It's just not gonna happen. I don't even understand how they would think anybody would just want to sit back and give them $1,000 for a game system anyway. I could be interested in you know, variants of God of War or Wolverine or whoever else, but I don't think it's enough for me to want to change. I don't feel like I would compromise for those games. Those games are not sellers like that. Like, it would really take a GTA to get people to drop their position a little bit. But like, there's no way you would expect me to like come up out of my skin for these other titles like that. It's just not happening. It's silly to me. The game right before this was Sorrows, right? Like, and then I think before that maybe it was Ghost of Yotei or something. These are cool games for what they are, but they're not enough to make you want to just say, well, I need to push out $1,000, get a digital only version, and shut up and just smile about it, and get a collector's version without a game disc in it and stuff like I don't see myself doing that for all of those titles. They just don't have it. Most of this generation has literally been, let's remake something from the 90s, let's remaster something from the 90s. They don't have things that's pushing, you know, the genre forward for this generation like that. You know what I'm saying? Everything is some sort of DLC standalone sequel thing to a name that was a big name for the last 20 years. But there's nothing that's new that's pushing it forward to make you really want to do that right now. It's always been copycats this entire time. And you can't expect to make that type of profit off of a copycat. It's just not going to happen. That's all I really have to say about it. We could probably move forward. All right. What do you want to talk about as far as Lego Batman and Lego news? I know it probably has something to do with Comic-Con, but go ahead.
Just that I found out that they did this little contest, like a drawing contest.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it had to do with the Comic-Con, but a drawing contest for people to submit like their own villain. And then they chose one. It was a character named Rhetoric, who looks pretty cool. They turned it into a Lego, and he's going to be in one of the future DLCs.
Okay.
So I thought it was really cool that they're like interacting with the audience, because like it's the Lego games, they get to be extra creative. So the fact that they're gonna, like, you know, the holding contests, like, create a character and we're gonna use it like in the game for people, I think that's really cool.
Are they gonna pay the people?
No, you get. I wouldn't even be surprised if they don't get the DLC for free. They still gotta buy it themselves.
Dang.
But it's in there. They get some credit.
I guess. All right. Did you also say there was a game coming to Luna, Amazon?
Yeah. So, the Batman the Caped Crusader. It's like the noir kind of like retelling of Batman doing kind of its own thing. That's on Prime Video, and they're making Batman Caped Crusader Chronicles on Luna. It seems like it's more or less like a party
Mm-hmm.
sort of game, but it's a game where it's like you're doing detective stuff, working alongside the GCPD, the good people, to try and like
Okay.
solve crimes and everything. And you can use, of course, your phone or controller, and it's like multiplayer and stuff. But it's cool. As again, this is just another Batman game, free through
Okay.
Luna if you have Prime.
Okay. People go ahead and check that out. Check that out indeed. Um, Dead as Disco. What's up with Dead
So,
as Disco?
little brag right before I bought a new PC. Um, Very happy with it. It finally came in. That boy's beefy and a little loud, but good.
Okay.
Uh, and man, does it make a difference? Like sort of because I'm going, I guess for the people. I'm
Mm-hmm.
going from a GTX 1060 to an RX 9070 XT. So it's a big jump.
Okay.
Right? Like a lot of games that I had to just put on low setting and I would still get some stutters versus how they look now. But besides that, I went ahead and I was one of the games that I wanted to get. I knew I was going to get it right away. Was Dead as Disco, which I played the demo for, and it's like a rhythm game with Arkham Combat. So the idea is like a song is playing, and it's all of the Arkham Combat where you can do the counters and the combos and fights and things like that.
Wait, didn't we show
But
that a
you're
few
doing it through the
times?
rhythm. I believe so.
Okay. Yeah.
Oh, I'm pretty
Um.
sure we did. And then you fight to the rhythm
Okay.
of the song. So even showing it doesn't do it as much justice because they're listening to us and not the music.
Right. Right.
Um, but I ended up getting the game and everything, playing through it, and I found out it has this feature in the free for all slash arcade mode where you can add your own music to it. So you're able to put in music and you put in the beats per minute that it has. So you can easily look that information up for the BPM of a song.
Mm-hmm.
And that determines the rhythm at which the character fights, following the beats per minute. And it just puts the song in the game. And I even tested to see what happens if you like move the file or things like that. So you put it in one spot, then if you moved it, it just goes, it can't find it, and you have to like re-find it on the computer, and then it just reads it off of that naturally. Um, just right into the game, and I was able to just play through my own like songs that I wanted to listen to while doing the combat like in the game, which I thought was really cool because then it's just like you didn't have to pay anything extra, it's just you add as man. So far I've added about like 30 songs. Like I don't know if there's a limit. I didn't look it up. Um but you can just straight up just go through and add them on there. And in like your hub, like before you go into missions and where you can like unlock new abilities, cosmetics, and all that stuff, there's a
Mm-hmm.
jukebox in the corner, and you could play your songs off of it. And there's like no lag, no stutter, no things like that. Um, it still makes me surprised is why to call out 2K, why WWE doesn't have that ability as well to just add music to it. Because it just directly reads it off of the PC. Like if PC's not going to get their little whatever tribal chief mode that they get that only console gets, then this should be the slight trade-off. I shouldn't have to get a separate program to go through and rewrite the music that's in the game to what I want. I should be able to just add it to it like the good old PS3 days. Because if
Okay.
this indie game can do it, like the big company game can do it, especially because it's doing it flawlessly. I'll have some footage for the game in the future because I had a cool boss fight as well. Let's just see me lose at one point, and then I figured it out on the second try. But almost lost the second time, but I ended up winning in the end. So I'll have that footage up at some point. But yeah, definitely, it's just really fun, solid game.
Okay. I do look forward to it. I do remember because it was isn't it mostly like or the colors they rely on is like yellow and blue.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
background was like blue. He's wearing a yellow jacket. You could change
Yeah.
the scenery and stuff to make it like there's one that's like pink, one that looks like a graveyard, one that's just straight up a green screen.
Okay.
But yeah, very vibrant.
Okay. All right. Well, you know what? Let's take a quote unquote commercial break. We'll just focus in on our unofficial sponsor that I like to call or Epic Games, I should say, our unofficial sponsor, who comes out with new games every week. And these games are completely free. It's hard for you to complain when they're free, right? But you can go under the platform and create a page and use a gamer tag of your choosing, and you can claim all these games, and then you can add them onto the PC of your choosing, handheld, machine, laptop, tower, however you do it, and everything will be there that you claimed before, right? No credit cards needed unless you actually just want to buy something straight up. But as of right now, the game that's available until July 30th is called Four Tales. I didn't really look into it too much, but I can say it is a card game. So go check that out. And then for next week is two different titles. And this is going to be available from July 30th to August 6th. Man, we're already talking about August. That's crazy, right? The title I believe is OTXO. I don't know what that stands for, but OTXO, it's a top-down shooter. So go check that out. And then Soul Sesto, I think I said that right. It's a dungeon crawler. So that's also available July 30th to August 6th. So go check those games out, coming from Epic Games. I think I bought something on Steam that was like $2 or $3. I can't really think of it right now, but I know every time something goes on sale on the wish list and it's under $5, I usually buy it right away. I don't even hesitate because it's like under $5 and I trust whatever my judgment was. But I did buy something. I know things go on sale under Steam all the time, so check out your Steam, your wish list, and support some of these smaller creators, I guess. I don't have any other big sales and news, but a couple things here and there. But did you have anything coming from Amazon?
Nothing from Amazon, right? It's still the same month of stuff. Hopefully we'll have new stuff to announce next week. However, I think this is still going on. Hold on. This one's not game, but yeah, tech. Nixie, which we talked about before. I think they make the better Switch controllers and Joy-Cons. No stick drift, and just amazing. They're currently, I don't know how long it's going to last, but currently all their stuff is 58% off.
Yeah.
So like,
go ahead.
I was gonna say, like, the Hyperion joypad is currently 60% off. The old school looking GameCube controllers, both of them, the one that's like a Pro controller and the one that you can use as Joy-Cons, are both 58% off. Basically, it's putting everything in between $30 to $40. It seems like that's the percent off that they're taking. For most of it, it's 30 to 40 bucks. A little bit of things above 40, but that sale, like normal price, they were over 100. It's down to 40.
I think it's great. I mean, I'm slightly concerned. I'm wondering why this is the thing.
Oh, it just says
usually...
super summer sale up to 75% off.
Yeah.
They're just doing a summer sale.
They was playing me though, actually, because I when I took a look at it, I was like, okay, maybe I'll go buy something. I don't actually need anything, but I was trying to get a second Joy-Con GameCube Joy-Con controller, but then it was like, oh, we can't validate your address. And I'm like, what happened before?
Sometimes I found out for that one, for example, mine, I have to put like AV after it, and some websites want me to take the word AV off of it. So that's usually, because I ran into that issue before and I was like, excuse me? I didn't realize it was saying it couldn't validate. I thought it was trying to say my address didn't match my card. And I freaked out for a second. But yeah, some websites want the AV, some websites do not want you to put AV.
Yeah, I think I did.
Or street
I think it was, for me, I think it's Boulevard. But I don't know. I was kind of annoyed because the controller, like you said, so it was, it's $31. And like, what's crazy is the little connector to add it to the Switch 2 was only $1, and they were normally selling them for 20. And so like they put it together, like if you bundle it together, then the price is like $31 for that. And I was like, okay, I have the orange one with the little blue accessories. I was gonna do the opposite, get the blue one, and then like my orange accessories that I have on this controller, or at least as backup, I can use that on the, or not blue but purple. And so I was like, okay, I'll have the opposite. And it's like $31 more. I'm like, okay, cool. But then it was like, oh, we can't validate your address. And I'm like, so I just can't get it then, I guess. So there's that. But
Try again, I guess.
yeah, I'm not really tripping too much over it. But yeah, that's the thing right now. I did always think that their Switch 2 versions of the Joy-Cons was a little bit overpriced, but they I guess they still have their sale with it where it comes down to about $100, and I'm like, okay, that's kind of more reasonable. But yeah, so that's Nixie. I do wonder how long that's going to be, but it is what it is. And we can move forward. So Comic-Con 2026, I just wanted to, funny enough, I didn't really have too much I wanted to mention from that, but I did want to shout out one particular game. But before I do, I guess I could mention, I guess with Black Panther, they casted a new dude who's going to be playing the son of Black Panther.
Yeah.
That's a thing.
I've seen that dude. He was in the Alien Romulus movie. He was the android that was trying to bro like the guard bot. Basically, android from the beginning, it was him. Okay.
So yeah, that's a thing. I mean, there's a few things, but it wasn't really an event that you could watch. It was just basically, here's a bunch of news. I think some of the God of War news.
They want you to pay top dollar to be in there.
Yeah. So.
Like they were even saying, I heard something for the Hall of H, where Marvel does their thing. They made like a comment about something. It was just like, we're gonna give you all this poster. But it's like, but come on, this is Hall of H. We got to do better than that. Like, some of you've been in line for like, and it was some obnoxious like amount of hours, he said. Yeah. I want to say it was like, yeah, I've been waiting in line for like 48 hours. Like, and it was like even more than that. Something like that. It was like 70. Like, it was somewhere like 2 to 3 days. It was like just the hours he threw out. I was like, excuse me? So people paying top dollar, just waiting just to go see Marvel talk about what's coming out, even though they already knew, and they're going to drop those same trailers. Like,
a lot of times too, the people who know, or the people who like go to these events, they've searched so much stuff that they've spoiled it for themselves anyway, and they kind of go to these events and maybe they might have 5 or 10% more extra information, but they knew everything, and then the trailer that they see live in there is not going to look as good as when you see the HD one later in your own private home or whatever. It's like you kind of just go in there for the sake of going there. But yeah. So a lot of that stuff, all of that stuff went down. The game that I wanted to mention is, funny enough, there was 8 minutes of gameplay footage sent on the internet for this. And it is a game that it just reminds me of my childhood. So I kind of wanted to just mention this. I know it's about to sound corny. The game was called Garfield Escape from Monday. And it is Garfield the cat. I used to watch it all the time when I was little, but they came out with a full 3D platformer game. No different than the SpongeBob one, maybe your Super Mario's and all of that, where he's just doing the same thing as everybody else, just jumping around, collecting stuff, moving all over the place. But the thing about it is I was kind of watching it and it looked very elementary, but at the same time, just fun enough where I just kind of felt like, man, if I am, getting into gaming of any kind, I kind of want to just have fun, even if it's just the innocent fun and there's nothing too crazy. But we've spent like this whole generation basically, talking about how many people got laid off, talking about how gaming is just in this just crisis mode or something right now. It was just so much stuff, and it's just like, we never actually just talk about, just wanting to play a game, period. Like, and that one just seemed like the most elementary one. And I was just watching it and I was just like, man, this just
No
looks
fun.
fun. Funny enough though, Garfield, they've been, like when I went under Steam and typed it in, it was a bunch of different things. Like, Garfield has a game that's called Garfield Lasagna Party that's real cheap. It's supposed to be like a Mario Party type game, and then they have two different Garfield kart games where you're just racing, and then you have this game that's coming out in by the end of September, and I actually almost contemplating buying it brand new as soon as it comes out,
Why not?
because it's just like it's Garfield. It doesn't fit anywhere in today's world, but it's just like innocent fun. Even when you look at it, it's like there's nothing really you could do with Garfield. It's a cat running around with the food and some of his other characters. There's no room to like compromise the show or anything in any way. There's no room to put politics in there in any way, or a bunch of loot boxes and stuff, because who's going to buy a bunch of microtransactions for Garfield? It's like you have to just make a simple game and just let people play it. And it's just like, it just kind of made me say, you know what, man, I might have to jump on that. But that's Garfield Escape from Monday. So many other things coming out of Comic-Con. That's probably one of the most random things I can mention. Almost everything else was a lot more entertainment movie related, but that was something that hit the internet. I think I just saw this dropped somewhere, and they had like Comic-Con 2026 on it, and it was like a new, like something that they announced. So I will be checking it out. I don't know if I'm gonna get it day one, but I will be checking it out very soon. It looked like something I did want to play on like one of the PCs or something, and just sit back and just kind of enjoy gaming for once, because I don't think we're getting enough of doing that. I think we're just kind of raging at the industry just a little too much. But that's all I want to mention on that. To move forward with the last topic, it could be quick. I just kind of wanted to touch on Xbox, and all the little quirky things I guess that's going on over there. But one of the things that they mentioned that got a lot of positive press was their backwards compatibility that they were working with. Apparently, they have found a way to incorporate PC with it, and was using some titles that were basically buried on the OG Xbox, which was like, it was just 4 little games. I can't think of their name right now, but I think this might also open up to their disc to digital future thing that they're trying to do, because you can basically play those games on PC. It unlocks the resolution and things like that. And these games are long dead, but whatever Project Helix is supposed to be, we've been talking about this physical media thing for a while. My guess is still, you can just throw the disc in the machine, and then you get access to a up-res Xbox version, but then it also carries over onto PC, which is an interesting thing, because right now, technically, if you buy a digital version of a game on Xbox, you actually do get the PC version right away for free, and you can like move your save data back and forth, which I think might have been a part of their original Xbox Play Anywhere campaign, that they kind of just like killed off because of Asha Sharma wanting us to do the return to Xbox campaign. But yeah, so the PC is getting these ports. Apparently they're looking to go within more of the original Xbox as well as Xbox 360 to dig up these titles that are probably just lost on that system. Anything that they can do, but hopefully they're going to announce the connection with the disc to digital thing for all of that stuff as well, because I can imagine that's basically where they're going with that. That'll be a really, really fun, interesting thing. What just flew across the screen on this thing? Was that the hunter? I forgot about. That might have been the hunter. I'm looking at Left for Dead. It's something flew across the screen. But
Probably.
yeah. So, any thoughts on Xbox PC backwards compatibility?
Uh, this is a step towards game preservation, so I love it. That's about it. I think you covered it well, but yeah, having ways to be able to go back and just naturally play this old stuff is fantastic.
Yeah, I don't know if you could take it a step further and be like, okay, well, let's create physical disc off of this. Maybe, I don't know if they have an offline mode. I think no matter what you do, there's probably going to always be some sort of online mode for practically everything. Because I think Game Pass in itself had an online thing where you had to at least connect once a week anyway, if I'm not mistaken. But at the end of the day, if the companies really want to stay in business, basically, they got to move this. The perception is that they want to control the consumer. The consumer is not trying to be controlled. That perception needs to change immediately. They've got to figure that out. They've got to figure that out. I don't know how they figure out how to do that while still getting a profit or something, but they got to figure out the pricing of everything because nobody's going to just sit there and just take that. They're just not. But yeah, did you also want to mention ad-based games or something under Xbox?
So yeah, they announced a free tier for their cloud service
Oh yeah, yeah,
where you'll
yeah.
be able
That's
to play
right.
the games, but it starts with like an ad. So you got to watch this ad, and then you get to play for an hour. Um,
I do think I remember hearing that a while back. Yeah.
that concerns me because this type of thing always spirals out of control,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like if you look at any streaming service, the moment there's an ad tier, then
Mm-hmm.
eventually when they raise the price of everything, the base price now gets forcible ads, right? Or
Yeah.
you get the case of YouTube where the ads just keep getting longer and longer. Like it used to be, sometimes you get a 15-second ad that you could skip after 5. Then it became 15-second unskippable ads. Then it became two 15-second unskippable ads. But if you watch it off of a TV, it's a 30-second unskippable ad. And now occasionally I get 1 minute unskippable ads. And then if it's political season, that's it. Every ad is 45 seconds of a politician either smear campaign or bragging that I just don't care about, but I'm stuck to watch it unless you have ad blocker. Hulu, if you have the ad supported tier, won't play the video if ad blocker's on. So there is ways that like you can't really get around it. So while some people will be like, "Oh, cool, like I don't have to pay," and then I still get to pretty much like test out games. I just gotta watch an ad, and then I can almost demo anything and play through it if you're willing to watch, an ad before playing. I don't know how long the ads are gonna be, but again, this starts to get messy, right? Or ads started instead of it only being at the beginning, it's now the beginning and the end. Sometimes in the middle. Like they keep saying it will not disrupt gameplay, but like Netflix didn't have ads, and all of a sudden now the basic tier got ads. Or Prime was like no ads, and then it got ads. Or PlayStation was like, this is how you could trade a game on PlayStation, and now you can't do that anymore. Like, so them saying right now there's no ads in the middle of the game ever, that might not be true. It may become a 30-minute time limit, and then you got to watch another ad before you're able to continue for 30 minutes, but the middle ad is short. I see this spiraling messy, and I never trust when they introduce ads because then they raise price, and then I don't want it to get to the case where like Game Pass basic tier still costs the same but now includes ads. And that's
Yeah.
where I feel like this stuff tends to slippery slope its way in. And as you know, when people are like, "Oh, you're that wouldn't happen, don't worry," and things like that. Well, who knew Oblivion introducing horse armor would eventually lead to loot boxes in games, or them straight up cutting content because they want you to buy it as DLC. That all came from one decision from one game years ago.
Yeah, like I said before, like it's hard to complain when it's free, but when they start to do that under areas where you are paying, I definitely will have a issue with that for sure.
And that's where it always
Um,
leads.
um, I guess we have to cross that bridge when we get there, but I would hope, just like how I was saying before, that's where people start to keep their foot down, you know, and say this is where I draw the line. As long as we draw a line in the sand and say we're not going to go past it, we'll be okay. But we just have to see how that goes. But that, I believe, is the show. I don't have anything else. Just expect some more footage that's going to be a little bit more relatable, especially the footage for the game that I wanted to show. I think it was Unga Land. So we're going to look at that next week. And then I might actually start doing that every week because we got so many demos that they keep coming out with. I wish list so many of them. I might just start doing it every week because the demos don't last that long. It's like it's a good way to warm up until you play the next game. So,
Do you want to trade off? Because I have a few that I can
yeah, we can probably trade
well.
off. That's probably fine. That might be a good balance. But that's it for right now. Like, comment, share, subscribe. I will catch you all on the next episode. Peace.